transcendental knowledge and enlightening us. So you can see I am starting from this prayer, then I'll go here, then here, then here, then here. So I hope you can see this. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachacha Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You all can chant with me a few times because it's morning hours. It's very auspicious to chant Mahamantra. Then we'll start our class. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I again sincerely thank each one of you for joining today morning. So now it is 6:08. So we will end our session by 7 o'clock. Then we'll take 10-15 minutes questions. So we have approximately 52 minutes to go. I'll share a presentation with you. So before that, I would like to explain you a small thing. So many of you might be knowing that how people actually catch monkey in Africa. How many of you know? Yeah. So how they catch monkey in Africa is they take a bottle, glass or a plastic bottle, and they put some eatables in it. Some peanuts, some cashew nut, some badam, like this, some raisins, some eatables they put into the bottle. I'll just show you a picture. I hope you can see my screen now, one picture on my computer. Yes. Yeah, okay, thank you. So now how they catch is they make a bottle. Inside that bottle, they put some eatables. Then monkey thinks, wow, there is some nice eatables. Let me go and catch them. And monkey goes there and catches those eatables. When monkey catches those eatables, it tries to take out his hand. The hand doesn't come. Because once you close your hand like this, it's very difficult to pull out. So the bottle is made such that it easily you can get in. This monkey hand can get in easily, but it's very difficult to take out. Once you close it, if you leave it, it comes out. So then the village person will come and catch the monkey. That monkey actually observing the village person is coming, but the monkey won't leave it. Monkey tightly holds it so tightly, hoping that I will grab some cashew nut and I run away. But unfortunately, that guy is coming. Monkey is trying to drag, but the hand is not coming out. And the person will come, take the monkey, and he will tie the monkey, and he will basically makes the monkey as a slave, and he'll put it in a circus. He'll take a stick, ask the monkey to jump this way and that way. He'll ask monkey to do different type of activities what monkeys do in circus. And later, the monkey will get some little food. You will not give cashew nut, probably he'll give some peanuts, or sometimes if he has, he gives, otherwise he'll make monkey to starve. So this way, whole monkey becomes a slave, and finally later it actually becomes, okay, I'm happily situated here. Let me just continue my life. Monkey even forgets that actually I have become slave to this person. So this is the condition of a living entity in this world. And now let me show you the presentation. Now you got the picture, right? So now the living entity, Atma, which is being discussed in the previous chapters, wants to enjoy independent of Krishna. When it wants to enjoy independent of Krishna, it came to this material plane. Krishna has taken this living entity, has put it to this material plane. And he gave us, every living entity, little free will. And based on the desires we have and what we deserve, he has given different types of bodies. Now, and when it comes in contact with the material nature, the living entity develops and has some desires and wants to enjoy with his senses. So based on the desires he has, you will get certain body. And based on that body, based on the desires, he acts. When he acts, he gets trapped in this world so badly. He thinks that sometimes he is happy, sometimes he is greedy, sometimes he is lusty. Because based on his desires, when he is trying to exercise all these desires through his senses, he gets caught. By seeing different sense objects, that like the cashew nut for the monkey, he wants to enjoy more and more and just stay here and wants desperate to become happy. He's desperate to become happy, but unfortunately he's being caught badly. When he's caught badly, when he exercises his senses and his desires through using sense objects, he will be caught so badly. And next life, whatever activities he did based on his desires, he develops some more desires. And based on that, sometimes he get a better body, sometimes he get a horrible body. And sometimes he goes to higher planets, sometimes he goes to lower planets. This way, the living entity has been struggling hard from time immemorial in the cycle of birth and death. So let me start with my presentation. This is a background. Now basically we are trapped in this material body along with mind and senses, and we are trying very hard to enjoy, become happy. But can we really become happy or not is a question here. And that's what Krishna is going to speak in this. How are you trapped? How can you get out of this trap? Okay, so let me show you my presentation now. Prabhuji, can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can keep it at full screen.
Yeah, I made it. Yeah. You can see chapter 14, three modes of material nature.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, actually our class just started. We have 45 minutes to go. Okay, before I start my class, this discussion on Bhagavad Gita, I would like to sincerely thank uh, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has given this wonderful Krishna consciousness to the whole world by his extraordinary personal character, preaching, and also his compassion and his books, his recordings. He has enlightened the whole world with this Krishna consciousness. And I also would like to thank my teacher, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, whom I heard and learned some of these concepts which I'm going to discuss today. So I sincerely thank especially many disciples and grand disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, from whom I have been benefiting a lot in the last couple of years. So in the chapter 13, we have discussed different concepts. That can be, the acronym can be wisest, wise questions, and items of knowledge, soul and super soul, enjoyer, seeker to seer, and transcendental. So these are the different topics which are discussed in the chapter 13. Now, what is the link between chapter 13 and 14 is, I just explained. This is today's chapter. Today's chapter is called Three Modes of Material Nature. Three modes of material nature. The acronym for today's chapter is TRAP. T stands for three modes, R stands for race for prominence, A stands for action in the modes, and P stands for pure life. Now, as I was explaining you, this sloka, this is the sloka which you learned yesterday in Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter. We'll all recite together. Purusha prakritisto hi bhunte prakriti jangunan karyanam guna sangosya sadasadyo nijanmasu. This is what I explained. How a living entity wants to enjoy it without Krishna and he comes into this world, then how he gets trapped and how he gets different bodies. Sometimes human being, sometimes demigod, sometimes an ant, sometimes a cat, sometimes a rat, like this. So that's being explained. Now, in this chapter, 14th chapter, Krishna is going to explain how a living entity can come out of the trap. So let's read the translation. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature, namely mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. So living entity comes here, he associates with material body, and he feels, he becomes so engrossed into it. He becomes one of the part of the material world, and he thinks that I am material object and I am also material. And he tries to enjoy through his senses. You see one person here, he's trying to catch dollar note. He's trying to, but can he catch? He's trying to jump also. He jumps and falls because it is tied at the back. He can never get this dollar note. And similarly, one person is eating, right? Like that, different people, this guy wants to enjoy senses. Like this, we are all being trapped. So now this chapter, Krishna explains what exactly this trap is, how we are being trapped in this world, how can we get out of this trap? See, unless we understand diagnosis, if there is no diagnosis, we cannot treat a patient. So we are all the patients in this material plane, and Krishna is trying to give screen is not changing, sorry. Stop share, I'll share again. Share screen. Gītā. Screen. Prabhuji, can you see this? Now is it changing?
You should scroll, Prabhuji.
Is it okay now?
Means we are seeing only the first slide.
Is it no, Prabhuji? I changing it. I don't know.
Now it is visible.
Is it changing now?
Now it is visible.
No, visible, but is it changing?
Yeah, you can try one more.
I'm in some third slide or so. Am I going to fourth slide, fifth slide like this now?
Now we are seeing sixth slide.
What do you see content as?
That is goodness, passion, and ignorance. On the top, there is enable editing is there, no, that you click.
Is it moving?
Yeah, yes.
This, I'm sorry, I have not shown you this slide, but this is the topic which we discussed just now. Okay. So living entity basically getting trapped and associated with material world, and he is thinking that I can be happy here in this process. Sometimes you get good body, sometimes bad body. Now let's try to understand how did we get trapped here. So in this chapter, Krishna beautifully is going to explain everything what we need to know, which probably cannot be taught at the best universities in the world, which is how are we suffering and what is the way to get out of this suffering. So Krishna discusses about three modes in this: goodness, passion, and ignorance, and how to get out of these modes by practicing the ultimate science of self-realization, that is Krishna consciousness. Okay, so the way it does in the previous chapters like 7 and 9 and 10, initially it glorifies this chapter. By knowing this knowledge, how a living entity can come out of this, these three modes and can become happy. So let's recite the first three shlokas, then we'll discuss. I am presenting here shloka 1 and 2, you can recite along with me because less time. Sri Bhagavan Vacham Param Bhuya Prakshyam Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Yajñātva Munayas Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gatham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again, I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. See, Krishna tells this in these chapters because it is important to know what we are going to discuss so that we'll be focused. He's creating, it's like a starter in a meal. He's going to create some enthusiasm in us so that we'll focus on it, learn the things and apply in our life. So the most important property is Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam. This is the most best of the all knowledge. Next shloka is Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadhanyam agata sarge pinopajayante pralayene na vedanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to this transcendental nature like my own, thus established. One is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So what Krishna is telling is, as I was telling you, unless we know the problem we have, diagnosis, we cannot do therapy. We cannot do any treatment for the patient. Now he is telling that any person who knows this knowledge, he can go back to Krishna and he can get the form like Krishna, right? And that form is Satchidananda Rupa. I mean, we will be happy always, blissful, we'll be full of knowledge, like that, and we will be eternal. So thus, once reaching Krishna, getting form like Krishna, one can never be disturbed at the time of dissolution. It means you will not have again birth and death. Let's go to the shloka number 3. Okay, the shloka number 3 says, Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharatam The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings who son of birth, Bharata. So I'll read the next sloka also, then we can discuss. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yam tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Aham bija pradapita. That's what Krishna is telling. So what is this? Let me explain you this. 2, 3 and 4 shlokas. What Krishna is telling that everything really comes from Krishna, and there is a material world, there is a spirit, there is a spiritual world, there is a material world. In the spiritual world, all living entities are happily situated in serving Lord Sri Krishna. And when a living entity gets a desire to work and enjoy independent of Krishna, Krishna says, okay, well, I'll create your own world. Then he takes all the living entities who wants to enjoy independent of Krishna, and through the medium of Shambhu, the original source of Lord Shiva, he gives it to Mother Durga. And Mother Durga is Prakriti, nature. And Krishna is the original father who is collecting all the living entities who wants to enjoy independently, and he is giving it to Mother Durga through the medium of Shambhu. And Mother Durga has, as with her energy, which is also expansion of Krishna's energy, all the material elements, namely earth, water, ether, fire, air, we get different bodies. And in these different bodies, each one soul will get into different bodies. So basically, the ingredients to create this material body and the soul, both are given by Krishna to Shambhu and Mother Durga, and we get different bodies based on our desire. Sometimes lion, sometimes cat, sometimes dog, sometimes human being, sometimes baby, or like that. And point is, what is the role of Brahma? So you can take an example of chapati atta, dough, you mix, right? So now this material energy is like the chapati dough, atta. Now Krishna is only provided indirectly that. Then Mother Durga has these elements, and Brahma takes these material elements and he makes different types of bread. Sometimes rolled chapati, sometimes square, sometimes triangle, sometimes like amoeba shape, different chapatis, right? So Brahma gives these different templates. This 8,400,000 species we have. And now these species are basically made with material content and spiritual content, and original source of both is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. And Shambhu, Durga, and Brahma. And these are our original, Shambhu and Durga are like our material father and mother. And we have another material father and mother in this earth. But above them is the Lord Shiva, Mother Durga, and Lord Brahma. Above them is Lord Krishna, from whom everything originated. That's what Krishna is telling in Shloka 4. Now let's go to this. You see different species are going. Now you see, the material scientists say that we are so clever, we can do anything. But let's say that on this planet Earth, I destroy all the mango seeds. And can a chemical material scientist create in the laboratory one famous South Indian mango seed and produce and use that seed and plant in the earth, which will create more mangoes plants, which can give more mangoes, and some I eat, some I throw. The thrown seeds will grow into another big tree and further give a lot of mangoes. That's the wonderful mystic power of Krishna. He has kept in a mango tree such a big mango seed, such a big mango plant, mango tree. So that's the brilliance and mystic power of Krishna. Okay, so now let's go. So what did we understand this? You can see here. So now we are really starting this chapter. So far what we understood is Krishna explained how great knowing this knowledge, how one can actually get out of this material plane. And Krishna actually explained that I am the person from whom everything has come. I am the seed giving father. Aham bija pradavita. Now let's start the chapter. The real chapter is starting now. Okay. First Krishna explains what are these three modes and how we are trapped, how one is dominating the other. Then later he discusses further the topics, how to get out of that. So we are in shloka number 5. Sattvam rajastamaiti guna prakriti sambhavam nibadnanti mahabahu dehi dehinam avyayam. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by three modes. So then let's take the next sloka, then we will explain later. So basically Krishna is telling there are three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes here with this nature, then he becomes conditioned by these modes. Conditioned, see, you see here, these three modes are compared to like a ropes. As I was telling you, the monkey is being caught, right? Like that, these three modes are basically caught the living entity. They are moving. The way the living entity, the way the rope moves, the living entity moves like that. So basically, we become so part of it that we just live whole life as these ropes move us. Okay. Now, Krishna is explaining about these three modes in detail now. Shloka 6. It's okay. Shloka 6, 7, 8. We'll discuss Sattva, Rajo, Tamo, and then once I give all this till summary, then I'll explain different examples for you to appreciate these three modes. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakasham anamayam sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena chanagam. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reaction. Those situated in the mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So there are few points in this sloka. What is Krishna telling is that mode of goodness results into one to lead a life of pure life without sinful activities, and it is illuminating. And a person who is in mode of goodness possesses two qualities. One is jnana, another is Sukham. Sukham and Jnana. These are the two qualities of a person who is situated in mode of goodness. If somebody has a Jnana, which is knowledge, when he acts on that knowledge, he naturally becomes happy. If it's a genuine knowledge, if a person acts on the knowledge, then he generally becomes happy. Then, so it looks like being in mode of goodness is better than other two modes, and it is true. And Krishna is telling, one who is in goodness has jnana and sukha. Jnana means knowledge, sukha means happiness. Now let's go to the shloka number 7. Rajo ragatmakam viddhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibatnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinim. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Right? So this is the place where in this world people are living, passion. A person who is in passion possesses two qualities. One is Sangha, another is Trishna. Sangha means hankering for association of opposite sex. He wants to enjoy company of opposite sex. Trishna means excessive desire to accumulate things, to become famous, to become very, very great person in this world, and everybody should glorify him. So basically, a person who is in passion, he he possesses the qualities of unlimited desires and the longings. See, it is said that a person who is in a passion, if you want him to write how many desires he has, he needs the amount of paper which is equal to the sky we see on this planet Earth. And the number of pens he writes, parallelly he is writing with all the pens, they are equal to number of trees on the whole Earth. The amount of ink needed in those pens is all the water in the ocean. Still, a passionate person after doing, a person who is in passion writing all these things, still some desires are left over. That's the condition of a person who is in passion. Now Krishna is explaining Shloka 8, which says, Tamastvajnanajam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadhanasya nidrabis tannibhatnati bharata. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. I repeat, the worst of all these three modes is to stay in mode of ignorance. If somebody is in mode of ignorance, then a person who is in mode of goodness is in deep darkness. Okay. And a person who is in deep darkness, he has madness, pramada, alasya, indolence, and nidra, sleep, lazy. All the lazy people come in this category only, right? So basically these people, they are considered to be mad, pramada, because these mad people, these lazy people, they not only create trouble to themselves, they also create trouble to others. See, for example, you take a thief. Thief is a person who is in ignorance. He basically goes and harms others, he robs them, takes the money, he drinks the liquor, and later when police is caught, he is being put in the jail. Now this fellow has created trouble to himself and trouble to others also. But a person who is in passion, okay, I'll discuss them a little later, I think. Let's just continue with this, this 9th sloka and I'll discuss in detail. Satvam sukhe sanjayati raja karmani bharata jnanam avritya tama pramade sanjayatyuta. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions to fruitive action, and ignorance covers one's knowledge. It binds one to madness. See, most important part, the mad goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance covers one's knowledge and binds one to madness. I'll give you a lot of examples next 5 minutes to explain these concepts in a clear way. So this is what we discussed. And Rajo, this also we discussed, fruitive actions. For Sanna Bharata, know that more of this also we discussed now, all three modes. Now let me give you a lot of examples. There are 3 animals. One animal is elephant, another animal is lion, another animal is fox. Now, the animal elephant, if you see, it is very healthy, it's a vegetarian, it's very stout in the body, right? And it is so good that it works so well with human beings. Right? If you have seen good elephant, they lift a lot of load, they help human beings. Although its body structure is huge, and it's a vegetarian, and it looks always calm in general. Then there is another animal, tiger or lion. There is a saying, you put a human and the tiger in the same cave, same group, either the tiger will eat the human or human will shoot a gun and take a gun and shoot the tiger. Either of this is going to happen. The tiger is a passionate animal. It's restless, it wants to enjoy, eat. Then next animal is ignorance. That is fox. This fox fellow never works hard like elephant or tiger. What it does is, it does not work for the food. It simply eats the leftover by the other animals. For example, there is a tiger which has caught one animal and ate it. Whatever leftover is there, it will go in the night time and sleeps. You are not seeing animals live. No, I didn't put that slide, Prabhu. Sorry, I'm just explaining it. Okay, too fast. Okay, I'm just explaining goodness, passion, ignorance. You see here there are three people. She's in goodness, calm, clear, and creative. This fellow in passion, you see bike racing he's doing, restless guy. He wants to attract the whole world attention to him. This fellow is in ignorance. He simply wants to commit suicide. Now I'll give another example. There are three students. If they are in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, how they behave. A student who is in mode of goodness, whenever there is a new book in the library, he goes to the library, he studies, he makes notes, he explains it to his classmates, and he shares this notes also, this book also. Hey, see, I went to the library, I found this book, it's very useful, the concepts are very well explained. But a person who is in passion, the student, if the moment he gets to know that there is a new book, he immediately goes to library, he takes that book, he doesn't show anyone. He puts it in his almirah, he takes it out, he only reads himself. He wants to get first rank, he wants to become great in this world. Now there is a third person. Who is he? He is an ignorant fellow, he doesn't go to library. Even by mistake, the student goes to library. He takes that book and he keeps in almirah. He never opens it. So this fellow neither reads nor gives it to others. So like that, this is one example. Like that, a person who is in goodness, he can be a good leader. And the typical examples of the goodness are the people like poets, philosophers, scientists. And the typical example of the passionate people are these typical businessman, business people, right? And a lot of people in this world you can associate with passion because they have excess greed, lust, anger, greed, envy, and they want to become famous. These are the qualities of a person who is in passion. And you can see that there are a lot of people who are in ignorance also, right? So I repeat what we discussed so far. We discussed three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And these are the three modes which are created by the mother material nature. And when a breathing entity comes in contact with that, he will associate with one of them and he will be just engaged in those activities and becomes either miserable or happy out of these consequences. Now, a person who is in goodness, he possesses two qualities, jnanam and sukham. Jnanam means knowledge, sukham means happiness. He is better, best person. And a person who is in passion, he has basically two qualities, which are Sangha and Trishna. Sangha means excessive desire to enjoy company of opposite sex. And Trishna means excessive desire for the material, fame, name, possessions. So greed, lust, anger, and all these things. And a person who is in ignorance, Pramada, Alasya, and Nidra. So this fellow is mad, is sleepy, is lazy, he procrastinates things. And these are the things who is in ignorance. And going from ignorance to passion, passion to goodness is better. Now, even if you see, the morning hours are in goodness. And passion and ignorance, passion is in the daytime, ignorance in the night time. So that's why for any spiritual practice, the best time is the morning hours. I hope I could convey some concepts about goodness, passion, ignorance to you. But these topics, right, when we keep on hearing repeatedly, it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. So a person who is in goodness, he has calm, clear, and creative thinking he has. But a passion is always disturbed. And even though he's working hard, restlessly, he's not happy, he's miserable. And a person in ignorance, you don't need to tell anything about him. He is just always in ignorance. He wants to take he wants to drink some liquor or smoke some cigarette or some ganja and just want to lie down. He doesn't want to do anything much. Now, he is not even knowledge. Now, Krishna talks about race of prominence. Sometimes we think that, okay, if I am in goodness, I am always in goodness. I took birth in goodness in one of the family, I'll just stay rest of the life in goodness. No. Sometimes goodness dominates, sometimes passion dominates, sometimes ignorance dominates. Now let's see how Krishna is explaining them. Don't worry, we have few more shlokas, so I will try to complete as soon as possible so that you can take care of your other duties. Rajastamaschabhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharatam rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats the goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats the goodness and passion. In this way, there is always a competition for supremacy. Clear. Sometimes one mode of goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance defeats. Now let's go to 11, 12, 13. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvam. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of body are illuminated by knowledge. Right? So a person who is in goodness is all the gates are illuminated by knowledge. Gates means nostrils, mouth, ears, like that. Lobha pravrittirarambha karmanam ashamaspruha rajasyetani jayante vivruddha bharatarshava. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. So basically, the people who are in passion, they will have uncontrollable desires. As I was telling you, there is no limit how many desires are there, and how to write you need so much paper and water and ink and pens. And a person who is in ignorance, Krishna says here, Aprakasho apravittascha pramado moha evacham tamasyetani jayante vivrutte kulunandana. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. Okay. Now you see the different activities in mode of goodness. So basically teaching, philosophical discussions, these are comes in mode of goodness. Getting up early in the morning, doing duty on time, being duty bonded, some music, watering the plants, reading good books, they are in goodness. And see, I'll tell you simply, there are three modes: goodness, passion, ignorance. Goodness means knowledge and happiness. Passion means sangha and trishna. Unlimited hankering for the material desires, unlimited hankering to satisfy the material desires. And a person who is in passion basically possesses, he wants to be owner. He has qualities like ownership, controllership, proprietorship, ownership, and he wants to become very famous. Those are the qualities of a person who is in passion. And a person who is in ignorance, pramada, alasya, nidra, indolence, sleepy, madness. These are the qualities. Now you just remember these points, then all that what we discussed is good, if you could remember. Now what are the different actions in the modes? Krishna says from 14 to 18 that, let's read them. I'll go a little fast now, later I'll become slow when there is important content. Yada sattve pravriddetu pralayam yati dehavrit tadottama vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Now as Krishna is telling, where will these people go? Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangishu jayate tata praleenastamasi mudayo nishu jayate. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So basically, if you are in goodness, you will go to higher planet existence. If you are in passion, you take in this planet Earth, like in the passionate people, and if the activities are bad, you may take in ignorance also, but a person who is in ignorance will guarantee to go lower planets, or he may take birth in the animal life. Krishna is telling what is the, I am practicing this mode, but what is the result? He is explaining in this thing. Next, let's go to 16. Karmana sukrutasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajastu phalam dukkam ajnanam tamasa phalam. The result of past action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Krishna clearly said that. A person who is in goodness, his actions are pure. And a person who is in mode of passion, he creates misery for himself. Because, for example, we take an envy. Simple example. It's a quality who is in mode of passion. If somebody is envious, he is so miserable. Although he has many things God has given, and through the desire and deserve of living entity he acquired, still he is miserable. He always compares with others. Although he has 100 crores, he says that fellow has 200 crores. He says, although he has got good job, he says, oh, there is a person who works in Google, he is paid me. Such people cannot be happy only, they are miserable. One example I am telling, but there are many examples like that. An action performed in mode of ignorance results in foolishness. You know, as I was telling the example of a thief. Now, sloka number 70. Sattva sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobhayevacham pramada mohau tamaso bhavato jnanam evacham. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. Let's go to sloka 18. It's clear, we discussed. Now, Krishna is telling what happens to these three modes in one shloka if they live in that. Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasam jaganya guna vrittista gachanti tamasam. Those situated in mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in a abominable mode of good ignorance go down to the hellish world. It's clear, we discussed already. Now, how to lead the pure life. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yadha drushtanu gunebhyasya param vitti madbhavam so adhigacchati. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So Krishna is telling how to get out of these three modes. See, whether somebody is goodness or passion or ignorance, they are all not good according to Krishna as per Bhagavad Gītā. Why? Because better, of course, goodness is better than passion, passion is better than ignorance. Why? Because, see, let's say I am going in a train. Sometimes I get a first class ticket, sometimes I'll travel in second class ticket, sometimes I travel in the third class with an unreserved compartment. And all of us are in train. One person is in first class, second class, and third class. All three people are in different bogies of a different boxes of a compartments of a train. But if this train is not going to the right destination, what is the use? See, I'm boarding train in Hyderabad. I want to go to Delhi. Now, I sat in a train, whether I'm sitting in an AC train or a sleeper bogie, or I'm sitting in an unreserved compartment. If the train is not going to the right destination, what is the use? Similarly, even a person is in goodness or passion or ignorance, whichever mode is in. But if he doesn't understand that these three modes are like shackles binding him and he has to come out of it, then only there is a real happiness. That's what Krishna is telling. Because the living entity, the soul came in contact with this material body, that's why it's miserably suffering with these three modes. Only the day he realizes that I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, I am put into this condition, I am associated with this material modes, I am being acting in these material modes according to the desires I acquired. So how do I come out? Unless he has that knowledge, then there is no use. It is like somebody is tied by gold chain, shackles. Somebody is chained by silver chain. Somebody is tied by iron chain. What is the use? He's being tied only. He has to come out. That's what Krishna is doing. This is the most important part of this chapter. Another 10 minutes will complete. I know you might be in anxiety that this guy is at only 19. How will he finish 32 slokas? Don't worry. We'll go fast little. Okay. Sloka 20. Gunani tanatityatin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkair vimukto amrutam ashnuti. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and the distresses and can enjoy nectar even in this life. See, what Krishna is telling is that you can transcend these three modes even being situated in this material body. That is the practice of Krishna consciousness. He is going to come to that. Now, once who is transcended these modes, he can become free from birth, old age, disease, and death anyway after leaving this body. Now, let's go to Shloka 21. So now Krishna is asking, Arjuna is asking questions. Hey, what do these people do in these different modes who transcended these modes? What are their activities? Arjuna Vacha Kelingai Sri Gunanetam Atito Bhavati Prabhu Kim Acharakatam Chaitam Trin Gunan Ativartate. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? How does he transcend the modes of nature? He's asking all questions. What the first question? What are the symptoms? What is his behavior? And what is the process of transcending these modes? Are explained in Shloka 22, 22, 26. We read this, we are done. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Okay. So, the shlokas are kept here. I'll read it. I'm sorry. You can listen. Shri Bhagavan Vacham Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham yeva cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani nanivartani kamshati udasina vadasino gunairyo na vicharyate gunavartanta ikyevam yo Avatishtani ningate samadukka sukasvastam samalostam shakanshan tulya priya priyodiras tulya nindatma samstuti manapamanayo tulyo mitrari pakshayo salvaramba parityagi gunatita savuchyate. All answers are given in this 25 to 20, 22 to 26, 20 to 25 I have read now. I'll explain in English now. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. Now Arjuna has asked these questions. What are the symptoms? What is his behavior? And what is the process to transcend these? These questions are answered. 26 is answered in, third question is answered in 26. Now we are discussing 20 to 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion, when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are acting, who is situated in the self and regard alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of air, a stone, a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material qualities. Such a person is said to have transcended the three modes of materialism. Krishna is telling a person who has transcended these modes, he basically is going to, somebody gives him a lot of respect or somebody gives him a lot of insult. He doesn't care. He is equipoised. He always stays in calm, clear, and peace. He doesn't bother if somebody gives him respect. He doesn't even worry if somebody insults him. Similarly, he sees everything equally. If somebody, if for him, he gives you a dollar note or a stone or a mud earth, or you give him a lot of money or you give him a diamond, Kohinoor diamond, he doesn't mind. For him, everything is equal. So basically, in these situations, he is not disturbed. For example, in this world, right, a lot of people commit suicide because they are internally not very strong. They don't know that they are not this material body, they are spiritual, they are being put in this world. That's why he's basically bound by these three material modes and he's basically acting on them. So what I'm trying to tell here is that, see, the example is very simple. Let's say that I have a Luna, or let's say that I have a Luna, I have a Maruti car, and I have a very big car, some big car I have. Now, somebody is going, who is going on Luna, is thinking that he is Luna. If somebody does anything to his Luna, he says, hey, you are doing this something to Luna. Somebody who is going in Maruti car, he thinks he's a Maruti car. Somebody who is going in a high class car, Benz car or something, he thinks that he is going in a high class car. But actually, he has nothing to do with this car. He is the person who is put into that car. He is just basically getting the pleasures and pains of that situation. And why did he put into that situation? Because of two reasons. One is the desire of the living entity, another is what he deserves. Right? Based on these two things, he is given that position. He is basically acting in these positions, but he has nothing to do with that. See, now the sloka number 26, Krishna says, Mam chayo avyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is the most important verse in the whole chapter. What is it? One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends these modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. See, Krishna is telling that what is the best way to get out of these three shackles of iron chains, gold chains, silver chains is by practicing the bhakti yoga. If you basically take the shelter of the holy name by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and reading the books like Bhagavad Gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with the devotees who are practicing spiritual life with the process of bhakti yoga, and serving the devotees and the Lord with great determination, enthusiasm, patience, and with great respect, one naturally transcend these modes. Now, we are almost there. See, Prabhupada, he has actually transcended all his modes. Even on his deathbed, the last few minutes of his leaving this world, he was discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. You see, he possesses all the qualities what we discussed in Shloka 25 and 26. Does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. Now, we don't have a time. If we have a time, we can take examples of how Prabhupada actually, we can show how he transcended the modes. One is this video you can see. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. So a person who basically transcends these modes, his thoughts are always in Krishna. You can see the previous slides I'm just going. See, how are they? The devotees of Krishna, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. From always enlightening one another, then be discussing about spiritual. That's what I was telling, and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted in serving to me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna is telling this. So now, last shloka in this chapter, 27. Yes. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrutasya yasya cha shashvatasya cha dharam asya sukasya kantikasya cha. And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is a constitutional position of ultimate happiness. You transcend these modes, you can go to, you achieve the results of all the perfection of this world. So I quickly tell what we discussed. I told, I means I am referring to Bhagavad Gita and all the previous acharyas. What I understood, I am explaining now. We discussed that the living entity, just 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, I conclude, then we can, if you have work, you can leave, or if you have some questions, we can discuss. So if you are not able to be attentive to whole class, you kindly pay attention for 3 minutes. 2 minutes, we are done. First, there is a spiritual world, there is a material world. The spirit soul, who is in the spiritual world, serving the Lord, wants to enjoy the event of Krishna. Then Krishna takes all those independent living entities, independent souls who wants to independently enjoy without Krishna, are being put into this material plane through the medium of Shambhu, Mother Durga, and the Brahma. These are the 3 people who are helping us to enjoy our senses. When the living entity is put in this material world, and he wants to enjoy his senses, so Lord also gave senses, sense objects, subtle body, and gross body. Now, when he comes in contact with the material modes, material nature, he will fall into one of these 3 modes, namely goodness, passion, ignorance. And there are 3 traps. We are put into 3 modes, means we are trapped. Once we are trapped, we are going to act in different ways. Suppose somebody is in goodness, he is going to have knowledge and happiness. If he is in passion, he is going to have Sangha and Krishna, excessive desire to enjoy. And hankering for the association of opposite sex. And the third is Nidra Alasya Pramana, which is ignorance. They are lazy, they procrastinate things, they basically want to just sleep all the time. They don't want to do anything. They want to just drink some liquor, smoke some cigarettes, and just want to get caught there. They are in the ignorance people. Now, Krishna tells sometimes one mode will dominate, other times some mode will dominate. For example, in the morning hours, mode of goodness is dominant. Afternoon, mode of passion. Night, mode of ignorance. So, based on one mode, one mode will dominate. And what are the different actions in these modes also Krishna told. The person who is in this goodness, he does nice activities, right? But a person who is like watering the plants, speaking philosophy, writing poems. But a person who is in passion, he always wants to acquire health and wants to enjoy things. But a person who is in ignorance, he wants to just simply drink, sleep, do nothing as such. And a person who is in pure life, that is transcend 3 modes, he always absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and always associating with the devotees of Krishna and serving them faithfully, the devotees of Krishna. He transcends these 3 modes and he can become even happy in this very life, being situated in the material plane. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, we have a few important announcements.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Today, as you show that, as you shown about just a glimpse of Srila Prabhupada's glories, how he was dictating the commentary on Bhagavad Gita, even on before leaving this world also. Similarly, we are going to have a separate session for about the glories of Srila Prabhupada tomorrow. That is the first thing. Tomorrow we are going to have the Prabhupada glories. We are going to discuss Srila Prabhupada's glories, how he has led his life and how he has established ISKCON and spread this movement all over the world, all these things. And day after tomorrow, we are going to have the 15th chapter, which is Purushottama Yoga. So, which is now we have Purushottama Mass is going on. So, it's very important to attend that class. So, we request all of you can attend, and you can encourage your friends and relatives also to attend this class and get benefited. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yeah, if you have some questions or comments, you may kindly ask now, or you may leave if you have other engagements. But I sincerely thank each one of you for joining today and making to speak from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. By every time I speak, my faith and conviction in the process of Bhakti Yoga becomes stronger. So by this process, I helped benefited a lot. Thank you for giving opportunity.
One question, bro. What is parampara?
So parampara means taking the knowledge through the chain of disciplic succession. It means, for example, if I want to become a medical graduate, I should first join a school, learn the basics in school, then I have to go to a coaching center or institute and learn from the people who have become successful in that career and learn physics, biology, chemistry, subjects like that. And I have to write an entrance, and I have to take an admission in a medical school, and I have to practice the medical medical practice under a bona fide doctor. When I get a bona fide doctor, practices under a bona fide doctor, then I can also become a practitioner. Like that, disciplic succession or parampara means learning the knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, from Krishna to Brahma to Narada, like that, from Prabhupada and his disciples, we are getting this knowledge. So this is called parampara. Receiving the knowledge in an authentic process is called parampara. Because if you say that I studied all the books which is related to medical and I become a medical doctor, nobody will allow it. You may practice on your own, but nobody will agree. So that's why it's important to follow the previous acharyas and walk in their path, learn from their personal life, and we practice them and perfect our life. Hare Krishna.
What is Trigunatita? One more question.
Trigunatita means transcending the three modes. I mean, as we were discussing in the shloka number 22 to 25, a person who transcended the modes, he doesn't care about name, fame, or insult, or a extreme heat or extreme cold. He is not on this plane of material. He is always absorbed in the thoughts of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So that is Trigunatitam. He is not disturbed by so-called pains and pleasures of this world. And he's always absorbed in the thoughts of this. When do you see, for example, you are going in a train, and in the train you have a lot of discomfort. But if you are absorbed in the thoughts of some good music or good things, good book you are reading, then you don't care what is going on around. Like that is transcending the modes. Trigunatita means transcending the three modes.
One more question, bro.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat
Pranam.
One who is mode of goodness, will he get fallen down to Rajaguna or Tamaguna? Also, person in ignorance mode, can he elevate it to Sattvaguna directly, or he has to go to Rajaguna, then Sattvaguna?
Good question. Yes, Prabhu. As I was telling you, sometimes one mode will prominent. Nobody can say that I am always in mode of goodness. He may fall down to passion and ignorance based on the association he is taking. That's the most important thing. If a person takes a right association, he can come from Tamoguna to directly goodness. What goodness? Pure goodness. Trigunatita he can become. So the point here is association makes a person to go from one mode to another mode. If I'm associating with people, saintly people, I become a saint. Then I transcend into the mode, and I can get up in the mode early morning. I can eat sattvic food. Actually, in the later chapters, 17th chapter, Krishna says 16th and 17th chapter, especially in 17th chapter, what type of food the people who are in 3 modes eat, and what type, when do we, what type of activities do we in detail he discusses at that time also. Basically, a person can go from one mode to other mode based on the association. Hare Krishna. Next question. Arif, if it's not convincing, we can discuss more.
Thank you, Prabhuji. All questions are done now. I think nobody.
So less questions. Thank you.
Everybody is happy. Very nice. Everybody is appreciating in chat. Everybody very nice lecture.
Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Should we end the session, bro?
Yeah, if they don't have any further questions, yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Kindly chant whenever you find time. That is the best process. The conclusion of this, if you don't follow anything also, the conclusion of this chapter is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it. If you follow this, it's done. So much philosophy you could not appreciate, no problem. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.